Big day here at the Heroes Global Championship as the 6th and 7th spot here in the standings are under contention from both of our teams, the Playing Ducks and Team Liquid. And it's going to be a pretty intense series, Caldor.
It's going to be a really intense series because for Team Liquid there's so much on the line now. They can still go to the playoffs, they could end up in the Crucible, and at the same time, of course, for the Playing Ducks, they find themselves also in a situation where they're trying to break out of the Crucible spots. So it's going to be a super intense match.
That it is. Let's go ahead and look at the standings here so you get an idea of where our teams are currently sitting. All the way to the top, Fnatic. Remember, they did qualify this weekend for the HGC finals of BlizzCon, so huge congratulations to them. We also will be looking at Team Expert later on today. That is currently tied with Trick Esports with a 6-5 record. But the match of the day later on, 6-7 right now. And a place here where Team Liquid, if they lose to the Playing Ducks, will fall to the bottom 2 slots here in the HGC.
And then when that actually happens, if it happens, then it all comes down to the rest of the games that we played this season. If Team Liquid, on the other hand, defeats the Ducks, then they have won against the Ducks in Part 1 of Phase 2 and Part 2 of Phase 2, which would mean that in a direct comparison, they always get the upper hand. So that would already give them a little bit of wiggle room here and would put Team Liquid on a much safer position than they are right now. So this match is super important for both of these teams.
Well, let's see when that match will be coming your way as we have the schedule for today, the final day in Week 8 of the HGC. Here we are, Team Liquid and Playing Ducks to start the day. Later on, Expert will be facing off against Fnatic, which always proves to be an exciting series.
Yeah, and then in North America, we have Gale Force going up against Team Freedom. And Gale Force was struggling last week when they, actually the last time they played with an 0-3. So right now, we're not quite sure what Gale Force is going to do here today. And then, of course, finishing out the day is Superstars versus Tempo Storm.
I think a lot of Gale Force fans, or Gale Force eSport fans, are hoping that they come out and show up today compared to what we saw on Friday. A bit of a uncharacteristic, gosh, I cannot talk this morning, type of day for them.
More coffee.
More coffee. Gosh, I'll chug that one in the moment we go to break. So, getting ready for our first series of the day. It's going to be a pretty important one. Our teams have been talking about it the last couple of days, and they have some thoughts to share with you at home.
To basically win our upcoming matches to not get into Crucible, and there's nothing to lose at this point. We can only gain from what has happened so far. So if we just play without anything bad in our minds, we can come back. We should focus on getting our picks. Before, if we try to deny what the other team can play well, it sometimes backfires, because if we're too focused on what the enemy team is doing, then we might fail at what we want to do. And this week we are going to focus on getting what we want to play and just make the best out of it.
It's really the most important weekend. Like, Expert and Liquid are both beatable, especially Liquid. Like, we really want to secure a win in that series and try to knock them out. Like, I think they're really in a slump right now and underperforming from what we've seen. I mean, they made it to the Western Clash, so that speaks for itself. And I think we need to try to take that momentum and try to secure a win in this series. They all swapped a lot around. Like, Nurok was on melees, now he's on ranged again, and same for Darkmog, he was on ranged roll, and then melees. I don't think they're that confident yet in each other, so we try to abuse that, or like trying to use that to our advantage and try to secure a win this way.
Team Liquid did suffer a pretty heartening loss on Friday when they faced off against Trick Esports. They came out and did pretty well in game number 1 on Cursed Hall. Were looking great. Seemed like they were very confident in what was going to be occurring. And then game number 2 happened, where we saw the Falling Dragon combo come out, and Trick Esports got enough momentum to go ahead and move into BOE as well and win the series overall with a 3-1.
And Liquid is just they're in such an awkward spot right now, because for them it's really just looking like, how do we deal with this? What do we have to do to finally get back on track? So right now they find themselves in a position, again, where they really need a victory here. If they don't get the victory, then the chances of them ending up in the Crucible are becoming bigger and bigger. It's all about the direct comparison against the Playing Ducks. Since TGG is more or less already confirmed for the Crucible, unless they make some insane games happen against the top of the standings, they will be facing off against the team from the Open Division. And so we are looking for the second team to end up in the Crucible. And right now, the Playing Ducks are the team that holds the 7th spot, but they, with a victory over Team Liquid, could really make a very good argument for, at the end of the season, overcoming Team Liquid even. So if Liquid wins today, that would be a huge relief for them. And the Ducks, they are going to come out firing because this is, right now, for them, the most important match of the season.
I actually expect them to come out firing. They faced off against Expert the other day, and they lost 3-1, but their games did look pretty close and very serious. They seem to be ready for the weekend. Let's go ahead and look at the top 5 cheers here for each individual team in the HGC. Team Liquid right now. Go ahead, just start it off, Caldor, every time.
Come on.
Every time. I can't talk today already.
Give it a try.
Just go with the first word for me.
Okay, Nachtschatten.
Nachtschatten. Nachtschatten, 83, with the 42,000 cheers dropped off here for Team Liquid.
Yeah, Ginge with another 15k here as well. So yeah, Team Liquid with a lot of supporters, of course, is still playing. Ducks, on the other hand, they have definitely gained a few fans throughout the matches that they've just played recently.
Yeah.
Lives 187 all the way up to the top with 14,000 cheers. And Zemba as well.
They've been spiking in the bits, and rightfully so. Their match against Expert, again, we were talking about a very close series. They really took Expert toe-to-toe on a couple of maps, and it was great to see. Playing Ducks has always been a team here at the HGC that we watch and always say, can you play like this all the time, please? And if you do, you're going to get more wins. There is one thing that I feel like is pushed a little too much, that Vala, Hungering Arrow build Vala, every single game here from Chris, but hey, they're making it work.
Yeah, on Infernal Shrines, it didn't work out in the end. That's the map where I didn't really get behind the build too much, but overall, you can't deny that Chris and Vala is just absolutely a treat to watch.
Yeah.
He definitely knows what he's doing, to an extent where some of the players that we interviewed even said, well, Playing Ducks finally identified their strength. They know what works for them. Basically, just try to put Chris and Vala and run with that. But yeah, he's definitely a huge game changer for them.
Well, as we get ready for the games, tweets are already popping out about the series, everyone knowing how important it is. Wolf Joe. Gonna play Team Liquid in 20 minutes at twitch.tv/BlizzHeroes. Hashtag Ducks Fly Together. This one sure counts to try to avoid the Crucible.
I'm loving the hashtag.
Love it.
It's really good. But yes, he's right. Again, this is the most important match for sure for them. Lauber as well, Open Division player and one of the best ETCs that we have in Europe outside of HGC. Probably the best ETC outside of HGC. Today is an important match in HGC. Team Liquid versus the Ducks. If the Ducks win, it will be an intensive 2 weeks for the two teams to avoid the Crucible. And he is right. If the Ducks win today, then every single match for these two teams is going to become even more important. And there's some insane games actually coming our way then, because Team Liquid, for example, still has to face off against Dignitas. The Ducks face off against Fnatic towards the end of the season. We have matches against Team Expert and also against the Zealots on both sides. So it would get crazy. If Liquid can win today, that would definitely help them a lot for the rest of the Phase 2. But if they lose today, then it's not only about the matches, it's about every single map where you have to make sure that you get a bit of an edge over your opponent. And that would be a run that nobody predicted at the beginning of Phase 2.
It's time for us to see if we can come down to the wire for our teams. Battleground number 1 picked up here in this best of 5 series. It's going to be Cursed Hollow. Team Liquid will have the choice.
Yeah, Team Liquid with the choice on the map and first pick and first ban, therefore going over to their opponent, to the Ducks. And as you said earlier, the Ducks have been looking really good in the previous series. The question is, can they translate it into the match against Team Liquid? And with Team Liquid, I mean, they won the first game against Trick, which was actually a huge relief for them. And I expected during that series that that would build some momentum for them to translate that into the series. Give them the confidence that they've just been lacking. Because you look at their games and you think one of the problems they have is the confidence in their decisions and executing them. And so after a map, when you expect them to build that confidence. Didn't really happen against Trick, but today it would be important, I feel, for them to win on Curse, which has been a staple. It's a very solid battleground for them in the past.
I would argue that they actually started to have a foundation for that confidence on Cursed Hollow and then moving to Spider Queen all the way up until level 10. And you could see how ready they were to play the matchup. And the moment that one odd thing hit them, they just fell apart for the rest of the series. So coming into Cursed Hollow, this is a good sign. Last week, this is where they started against Strict.
The Falling Dragon combo.
The Fallen Dragon, man. And again, Destroyer of Worlds and Team Liquid.
Team Liquid with a ban on Vala for the exact same reason that we just pointed out. Every time that Chris plays on Vala, he excels at it. Liquid now, a team that also prioritizes Vala quite highly, but they identified that Chris can become a problem when he's on the hero, so they're immediately taking that away.
This ban is multi-layered. First off, you have Chris on the Vala, you have the Hungering Arrow, which the Playing Ducks, and this Battleground, they love double boss plays. They do it very often. They've been doing it for weeks. Vala really fits into that double boss play. So taking that out there, Team Liquid gets 2 birds with 1 stone.
And also what I would really like to see, nice pun by the way.
Thank you.
What I would really like to see here is the Haka being played for Team Liquid. If not that, then at least think about a false set later on in the draft.
Yeah.
It's not really
Global.
worth picking it super early here because it can be too easily countered, but you need to think about the global if your opponent is running that ETC. Also, I would be worried about a Medivh coming into play later on for the Ducks. It's a bit too early to tell, but that would be a potential second ban for Team Liquid looking at the draft.
Yeah, we could also have Team Liquid move into the Medivh themselves. We've seen Hasselhoff flirt with the idea a few times here and there. Dahaka and Rhaegar being picked up right away for Team Liquid, so they'll get that Dahaka and they'll also get one of the best supports that you can probably pick up in your first couple of rotations.
Now, at this moment, when you're the Ducks, you're thinking about Genji and you're thinking about Uther, and as I say, they picked both of them. This is a really nice start for them, because right now in the meta in Europe, when ETC isn't banned, there's a few heroes that you think about. You think about Tacita, which oftentimes is banned, not so in this match now, because Vala has already been taken out. But if Tacita is not really something that you want to play, you are normally trying to... I like the Chromie touch here. I'm not sure if you've seen Chromie on this map, but yeah. Zeratul, I'm not so sure.
Probably not.
Calm down, Josh, calm down. Yeah. Coming back to my point, if you start with an ETC and your opponent mirrors the global and takes Rhaegar, then if you get Uther, you already have a potential combo with Mosh Pit and the Divine Shield.
Yes.
And then Genji just offers himself as an additional pick, because now you have a lot of flexibility of how you can progress through the draft. You can still run ETC as the main tank with Mosh Pit, you can run him as the off tank with Stage Dive, and no matter what you do, Uther is a great target for Divine Shield and really can accent both of these heroes in big fights later on.
Playmaking very possible. Team Liquid going to go ahead and ban out Lenara as well, seeming to actually want to target Chris here. He's been playing both Greymane, Vala, Lenara as much as they can. Two of those options have been taken away. Team Liquid, I can see them picking up the Greymane, and then suddenly playing Ducks have Li Ming and Tychus, who are the normal go-tos for Chris.
Exactly, Li Ming and Tychus are good points here. Tychus has fallen off a bit.
Yeah.
We see him very rarely, but sometimes he comes into play. More so, I would say he is a hero that is seeing some play on Infernal Shrines, since with Odin you can control the shrines very well. But we have seen Chris play him in the past, of course, but as you said, Li Ming is another big hero for them. For Team Liquid, on the other hand, it's also a question, what do they do with their own damage dealers, since they are the team that normally tries to get that auto-attacker in their own draft as well. They highly prioritize Vala. They have shown a lot of Lunara play too, but we could now, for example, see Darkmork again on one of those melee assassins, in addition to what they're already running now.
Gul'dan being banned out for the playing Ducks. Now, I am curious to see if that Team Liquid will move into Li Ming. It's who they got last time here on Cursed Hollow to help out with the poke on the tributes and such. However, I really do believe that we're going to see them pick up that Greymane, try and keep that away from the playing Ducks, and try to force maybe a bit more of a squishy / harder draft for playing Ducks to pull off on the other side. Team Liquid will also have to think about picking up a tank soon. There are some options still available for them. We've seen Diablo in the past, which is always good against Genji too.
Greymane is actually a really good hero to point out here, because it's another hero that Chris has played quite a bit. So he has a wide hero pool that he can play. I mean, the guy is cranking out games like there's no tomorrow. So that's definitely a player that's very difficult to target. But right now they're not really trying to put him to a point where he's completely out of his comfort zone. They're just trying to take some of his best heroes away from them because of the impact that he had in the past here. But I want to note again that Medivh wasn't banned out, so that's still an option on the side of both teams, of the Ducks more so than anything. Here we have now Li Ming taken, I like that, and we have Muradin as the main tank. There's a lot of stuns that can be stacked with the Tong and the Haka, Muradin stun, and then later on a potential Earthgrasp totem on Rhaegar as well. But with Muradin, of course, you have a good escape tool at your disposal as well, if your main tank is under pressure.
If you're able to let that Stormbolt and have the combo come in from Li Ming, and that Uther heal doesn't come out in time, that target will get bursted down pretty darn quickly. So we'll be seeing probably a little bit more damage from Team Liquid later on. Maybe that fall set could come back in, get that global, maybe double global could be good. Might be a bit squishy for the comp. We'll see what they want to do. It's all about the playing Ducks right now on that 4th and 5th side. And you're right, that Medivh is still available. Great with ETC, gives you the engages. Playing Ducks have played well with it before.
Sport Billy's hero is something that I'm personally looking out for now. He has played with Falstad, with Medivh in the past. We have seen him with, I mean, a lot of other heroes that I don't really see in this scenario.
Tyrande.
He has played for... Tyrande is also a good point. She can be played here as well as a last pick. So Tyrande could be a pick for them. They could still run with Medivh. Don't really see the Falstad being played here. But they go actually into a double frontline right now with Arthas being picked up as well. Okay, so we're going to see Billy on Genji for this one. And then Chris on Greymane. And with a double frontline, the ETC and Arthas combo. Something to be to at least respect a lot in the games. We have seen how much of an impact those two frontliners can have in a game with the control that they bring and how difficult it is to break through them. We've seen that several times now in the past.
Especially even for the tank. Murd and his Dwarf Toss will have to be utilized at pretty solid times, make sure that he can get away from the fight. If not, ETC and them can lock it down. There's enough burst here to take him away.
Wubi showed exceptionally play on Arthas against Muradin when he every time in fights would wait with his Howling Blast until Muradin makes his move and tries to escape and then locks him down in place once that he lands. And that's how you can really pressure Muradin even more, since he heavily relies on that escape. And a lot of players just always think it's a get out of jail free card. But if you have that Howling Blast and you time it properly, then you can really ruin his day. Falstad makes it into the draft on the side of Team Liquid, so Hazorbs is going to play the hero and will try to provide these escapes for his team, and also has, of course, another counterplay against a potential Mosh Pit, which we probably are not going to see since ETC and Arthas are now in a double tank position, so it's more likely that Stage Dive comes into play. But that means that we are now having 2 globals on the side of Team Liquid, so they can try and out-rotate their opponent.
And I'm expecting that. A lot of out-rotations here. Genji being on the opposing side worries me for the Li Ming and the Falstad. Both targets that are very easy to digest there for the Genji, diving in and applying that damage. Rhaegar will definitely be working overtime, trying to keep them alive if they do try to take on the straight-up fight approach. So we should be seeing a lot of rotations from Team Liquid.
Now, here's one thing that we have to point out right away. We didn't really have that opportunity yet in games, but now that the drafts actually align itself like it, Falstad with Gust is a great tool against the stage dive ETC if used properly. The idea is that once you see ETC stage diving in, you just Gust the rest of the team away, and you need someone that can follow it up with a stun, and that exists. We have the Haka for a Tong, and we have also Muradin for a stun. So if you play that right, ETC is going to die upon landing. And of course that needs a lot of execution. You need to identify the right moment, but if that opportunity presents itself, we are going to see a Gust right as ETC tries to stage dive in, Gust the rest of the team away, stun ETC, and just pounce on him, take him out before anybody else can move in. And for example, Uther has an opportunity to get the Divine Shield into play to save him.
One of the ways that ETC can kind of play around that is maybe to dive further into the backline, but you do leave yourself vulnerable. So we'll see how that stage dive will work out against a possible Falstad Mighty Gust. Let's jump into game number 1. Cursed Hollow, Team Liquid taking on the Playing Ducks.
Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Liquid against the Ducks with Splendor on Rhaegar. Garen here with Blumby on Muradin. We have Hazorbs on the Bird. And at the same time, Darkmork now on that second global with their Haka. Nurok finds himself on Li Ming and is going to fire away these combos for the extra bit of damage.
On the right side, in the red, stopping that damage will be Wolf Joe on Uther. Sport Billy playing Genji. Chris on Greymane. Eternal playing the ETC. And Nande will be playing Arthas.
So, as we've been talking about, the double global on the side of Team Liquid gives them a bit more map control, allows them to play a more macro-oriented game, whereas the Playing Ducks have to rely on ETC with Stage Dive later on to try and mirror the global movements of Team Liquid. And with the builds that we see now coming into play, it already goes down that path for Team Liquid. They go into the Gathering Storm on the side of Falstad, and that indicates immediately that with Falstad, they're not only trying to put more burst damage onto a target, that's also what, of course, Li Ming is going to try and do, but at the same time, if he goes on the side lanes, he has a much easier time to burst down minion waves. So that makes him a great pusher, and in a late stage scenario, that can really make the difference if you try to out-global your opponent. So that's something that the Ducks have to already identify right now and to worry about then later on. So I would be shocked if ETC would not go into stage dive to at least try and mitigate it to some extent.
Well, for now, we have Li Ming and False in the bottom against the Arthas here. Oswald will reveal himself. Missed out on the hammering, so doesn't get the Gathering Storm stacks. The laning setup is actually a little bit more favorable for Playing Ducks. It looks like they're pushing in the Rhaegar on the side, but with Blumby currently missing, you see Eternal and Wolf Joe just hang out in the same bush right across from them.
Yeah, this is all about setting up traps at this point, and I need to highlight again how important this match is for Team Liquid and for the Playing Ducks. In part 1 of Phase 2, the Playing Ducks lost to Team Liquid without taking a single map, but Liquid has fallen into a big slump right now. And if the Ducks are winning the series today, it's not only important that they get an additional series victory for the standings, but the one-on-one in the direct comparison in Phase 2 would be a huge relief for them, since they are then in a position where they can overtake Team Liquid in the standings if they play well throughout the rest of Phase 2 of Part 2 here. For Team Liquid, it would be a huge relief, on the other hand, to take the Ducks down, because then in a direct scenario, they would have a 2-0 score in their favor, which means that if the Ducks are able to tie in the standings, Team Liquid would still be above them. So this game is probably the most important match for both of these teams throughout the entire phase 2.
Yeah, and I really hope that Team Liquid brings 100%. I mean, in the last few weeks, they keep talking about the idea of still going to HGC Finals, going to BlizzCon. But right now, they just need to focus on this one important game and take it one game at a time as they move up and try to get into a spot in the playoffs so they can work on the HGC Finals. But for now, that Crucible lingering above them. Hasselhoff's being leaned above here as poor Billy goes in for the engage. We'll put some damage on Nurox. Shouldn't be able to kill him off, is able to back away as Hasselhoff's applies his own damage back. First tribute spawning out of the top right.
First tribute at the top. Keep in mind, none of these teams have actually taken a camp, but Liquid loses Rhaegar as the Ducks are moving in for the kill. That just coincidence with the tribute now. Now, of course, they can attempt to interrupt, but with Li Ming just now on the way and Falstad still holding the bot lane, it is unlikely. Noteworthy still that 2 minutes in the game, normally on Cursed Hollow, we are seeing both teams aiming for their own Siege Giants. We're trying to take the Giants before the first tribute spawns to get an advantage depending on its spawning position. But that didn't happen for any of these teams. Not even Team Liquid with Rhaegar went into the position to take the Siege Giant camp, so both leave it open for now.
Yeah, Rhaegar couldn't afford to peel off on that top lane as Merton's not really the best at clearing waves. He can drop down the ability to drop his W, and that's about it. Other than that, he's going to be forced down with Greymane pushing in, so Rhaegar eventually does get picked off and finally grabs the Giants later on, but so does the playing Ducks on the bottom right side as Greymane peeled off from the top and got it picked up.
Now we have also Charged Blast now taken, and Nurok is really all about being in your face, trying to get these kills, and here down to the bot lane. In the meantime, we are seeing that power of ETC and Arthur's that we talked about during the draft. If you have both of these tanks in your setup, then you have a lot of control at that front line, and you can always lead with the initial stun through Eternal's power slide on ETC, and then follow it up with a Howling Blast. And that's what they're currently trying to do to put extra pressure on those squishies on the side of Team Liquid.
All right, second tribute spawning here. Both teams are at level 7. Murden holding the bush here, but ETC and Wolfjo on Uther will be able to walk in and be able to control that bush as well, while Splendor begins the channel. Here comes Falstad to make sure to slow down here. Splendor is going to get it as the Wave of Light does not connect.
Wolfjo really tried to go into it, and Blumby just blocked him out and stunned him as well. So that's going to be important. Oh, no memes today.
No memes today.
Ken has cheeseburger?
You what, Mike?
Just think about that for a second. We're just memeing for the rest of the broadcast and completely ruining his exam tomorrow when he gives his answers. It's just like all over the place.
I feel like this is unfair to actually put this on top of us here. We're here to, you know, get your commentary on and bring you some matches, but you doing a test tomorrow, you can't put that on us, man. That's too much pressure. I'll fumble it.
If you fail, then I have to say Chris was the problem, probably. So much for memes.
Man. Here's the problem with the internet. Never tell anybody to do something, because if you do, they're going the opposite direction every single time.
And always remember, don't think about a pink elephant.
Don't. Okay. All right. Memes gone for the next 20 seconds at least here, as we see our teams grouping up, starting to grab control of the map. It is about to be 9-9. Luckily for the next tribute, since both teams have won, there's no major force here that has to happen.
It has been a really uneventful game so far. Both of the teams are super cautious, and they have to be. We saw a single kill against Team Liquid, which was of little consequence except for the first tribute itself. But overall, they both are playing it super safe. The spawning position of the third tribute now favors the playing Ducks as it's more towards the right side. Liquid still trying to make a bit of a play for it, and they are more so concerned about maybe taking Eternal out here, but Blumby jumps in for the interrupt, and now it's a 5 versus 5, but Nanda is low, eats a combo of Nurok, and Team Liquid comes out firing as we have both of the teams heading closer to level 10. Sport Billy with a last-ditch attempt to maybe get the tribute, but Liquid is starting to take more control over the position.
That's right. ETC taking a lot of poke there, allowed Team Liquid to advance forward, bringing all their globals in. There is still 10 sharking around, but Blumby jumping in for Sport Billy will get some damage on him. He goes about half health here with Nande healing on up, a Wolfjo on the side. They can contest this tribute, but are deciding just to poke for the moment. They want to get level 10 as both teams are very close to hitting it.
Yeah, Liquid is going to hit that a little bit sooner probably, but playing Duck should be right after them. Here's the 10 already, but Wolfjo is in position for the interrupt and gets it. Now, of course, this is where it gets real. Both of the teams on level 10, and this is the opportunity right now. Stage Dive has been chosen as expected. Liquid is the team that can play a bit slower. Here comes the Stage Dive. Falstad flies in, gets the gas. Divine Shield is already on Genji. He goes in, tries to get the kill, but the Ancestral hits Nurok. He's alive for now, but once again the stuns against Dehaka as he goes straight into Burrow.
Playing Ducks is grouping much better here, and it will award them a kill on Darkmok. He gets picked off. With mana low here for Nurok, Team Liquid can only walk away from this fight. Luckily, it's only a second tribute to the Playing Ducks, but the fight overall heavily going into the favor for them.
Now at this point, Liquid still has to realize that they are absolutely fine playing the macro game. Their composition's strength is that they have 2 globals available. They have a lot of control, they can win these team fights as well, but it's a lot about how do we act on the map. And for now, they are invading boss up at the top. 17 seconds for Gus. They can't use their tool, but none is under pressure. Blumby is on the point. Dehaka moves in. Li Ming not here just yet. ETC is low. Eternally in trouble. Darkmok tries to connect the tongue, but doesn't get it. Blumby is there, but he gets blown away as the boss is taken. ETC, as Nurok finally arrives, is blown to pieces. Nurok goes for the double kill as he drops Genji, and they take Uther out. Li Ming late to the fight, but able to really bring the pain once she arrives.
That's right. Getting those 3 kills is very helpful. Now Team Liquid can put all of their resources into defending this top lane when they send Rhaegar to the middle to soak the experience. So all said and done, Team Liquid should be just fine. But the issue here, another tribute spawning into the bottom left corner. They need to clear out this boss and then send over a couple of members to work on that tribute. So far they have Splendor there, and as long as they can control that bush, should be able to grab it, and we'll have a tied-up game in terms of tribs, 2-2.
They are already moving in position here, and Nurok going actually into the wave of force over Disintegrate. There's no mosh pit to interrupt, but he still plays with the tool here, trying to make sure that someone is out of position during these fights on the side of the Playing Ducks that they can take. But this is still going to be a pretty rough match here. Liquid needs to make sure that they put their globals into good positions here to get that lead in experience. They already have a slight one, but with the fort at the top lane about to be destroyed, the Ducks are going to catch up very soon with it. But it already shows that this is going to be a super explosive game. I mean, the experience is nearly even. We're 9 minutes in, we're seeing 3 kills on each side, so this is going to be a very, very close call here. Both teams know exactly how much is on the line.
Levels even, experience even, kills currently even. Next tribute will be the curse for both of our teams. They're struggling their best here to get towards that level 13, and right now Team Liquid looks like they'll be there a little bit quicker. Now I am kind of curious to see if we're going to have that weird hybrid build we had from Falstad the last week, or if we're going to be having him move into different talents.
I seriously hope that he goes for a cooldown reduction, especially since he already has 30 stacks on the Gathering Storm, and it would just increase his damage output. Going for Giant Killer with this setup, I'm really not a fan of it. I don't think that's a good choice. The cooldown reduction allows you so much more poke, but he goes into Giant Killer again, trying to use it. There is a double front line. There's definitely a lot of heroes to hit. That's not in question. But I think the damage output would just be so much better if he could poke away, and it would also help him with side soap. But for now, they're trying to get an isolation kill against Eternal. The cow, on the other hand, with a quick face melt and then a slide back, is able to retreat behind the wall.
Still get the ETC to pull away. The Giants pushing in the top side. Blumby will be harassed down. Genji on the bottom left is doing his best to get on top of Hasuops. Hasuops low on health will eat the Ancestral Healing. Here comes Stage Dive.
Stage Dive, immediately the drag is used. Blumby with maybe the follow-up stun. Nurok is low!
Did he get it?
Billy is down and Nurok survives. Li Ming soloing Genji here. He is down, but so is Rhaegar. The fight still continues, and with Nurok being on low health, he cannot help out here. But Eternal himself in trouble, slides back in the last moment. Hasuops has so much room to work with here, and it's just firing away from the back line.
Team Liquid needs to be careful, and they need to delay this so they can get Nurok back into the fight. Nurok is on his way across the map here. Can Blumby get over there just in time to delay Chris? No. The front line too strong for the Ducks. They turn around, they find Darkmok, they take him out. They're looking for a Blumby as well.
Nurok is back. He hits the orb, but it doesn't connect. The curse is hitting Team Liquid, and it's hitting hard. It's pushing in right now as Blumby's trade gets activated, and he regains hit points. Nurok still firing. And that was a really weird fight there. Genji in the one-on-one against Li Ming, losing out because of Calamity and Cannoneer. But then in the end, Rhaegar falling, putting a stop to Team Liquid's aggression. Nurok now out. Oh my god, this is painful. At this point, Splendor falls. Rhaegar dies as Billy gets the reset on Genji. And with a curse, Playing Ducks get 2 more kills, and all of a sudden they have so much pressure. They go straight for the keep. They ignore the fort in the back, and the minions already take care of it. This is a disaster for Team Liquid.
The Keep is taking the pressure here. Dark Monk on the side working in some damage. Blumby is low on mana, so he'll have a Stormbolt too, but he can't really overextend. Drag coming out, will hit on top of Nande, but the Keep, it does fall. The Playing Ducks get what they wanted.
The Keep is down, and not only the Keep, 2 forts have also been eliminated, and all of a sudden the Ducks are 2 levels ahead. Fantastic play by them, and for Team Liquid, as I said, it's a disaster. The fight actually, like Li Ming getting the one-on-one kill against Genji was absolutely fantastic, but when you lose Rega and you don't have any sustain because your healer is down, then you are in trouble. It's so difficult already to break through Arthurs and also ETC. Greymane there for the damage output, and then you have Uther just healing them up the entire time. I think it would have been different if, let's say, the Ancestral, when Rega dies, he had to throw the Ancestral out. Li Ming was nowhere near him, so he had no chance of healing her. But let's say that they somehow keep Li Ming alive with more hit points.
Yeah.
Then it's a different story. Because then it's a true 4 versus 4 that you fight with the big damage dealer. But because Nurok was so low on Li Ming, he had no choice but move back. So Team Liquid was fighting a 3 versus 4 to try and prevent the last tribute to be taken. Now the saving grace for them, of course, is they will still hit level 16 in a few seconds, but the Ducks are still attempting now to run with the advantage, and they try to translate it into a boss grab.
And despite losing a Keep in the middle lane, that is a lane that you can handle pretty well. Fall 6-6 the entire time, come in with the flies when need be. So as long as they get that 16, they are fine in terms of defense. They don't want to lose another boss, but with one more tribute, they'll be able to get a curse themselves and answer back, and they're going to need to. They have yet to tickle a fort yet of the Playing Ducks. So Team Liquid looking for some plays right now, but need to play patient as they deal with the boss coming in the top lane.
Yeah, so Hazos with the Afterburner on level 16 again. Double boss play now for the Playing Ducks, so Team Liquid accepts for now that they are just going to miss out on... Well, actually they're not missing out on anything. They are making that play. They are trying to go in. They're poking away with Nurok and trying to get some damage. Here comes the Haka. Blumby is on the point. Hazorbs with a good gust, saving the boss for them and even able to dodge Genji, who has the Divine Shield right now and moves in with the Dragon Blade. Stage Dive has been used. Liquid is still fighting. They took the boss and they try to get some kills.
They're looking healthy here, especially with an Ancestor Healing coming off. Nande on the back line here. Will he get hit with a Stormbolt? If Blumby can jump in with the Dwarf Toss into the Stormbolt, they can maybe go for a kill. But Eternal with the Face Melt will knock him away.
If they get the curse here, that would be fantastic for them. The Ducks are running, and the boss has already nearly taken out the fort at the bot lane up to the top. The Keep is still surviving. That curse would mean so much right now. Eternal also low. Eternal, he's in trouble, and he is down. Liquid is coming back into this game. They have the boss at the bot lane. They can go for the first Keep here.
They're moving in for it too. With the curse popping in, the Keep is available for picking off. The boss moving in as well. The gate starts to get shredded here. Sport, Billy, and Chris doing their best to clear out the wave and hit the cocktail whenever they can. Blumby jumps right in, willing to hold that front line as for 28 seconds. There's no ETC.
Now keep in mind, Liquid has lost the Keep in the mid lane, but if they take down the bot lane here, that would be huge, especially since they run their Haka and Falstad. They could really boost those 2 globals even more. In the meantime, Siege Giants at the top lane are taking down another fort here. Team Liquid, they have the Keep. They might make the play for a core here, but they're low, so especially the Haka, as he uses his essence, will have to move back.
You have to be careful. That ETC with Stage Dive is too much of a threat. If you push it a
Just
little bit
Gust.
too far,
Just
yeah,
Gust.
true. Here it is. Gust pops off. Do they kill Eternal? Gonna have the nice cleanse from Splendor. Isn't enough. Nurok does survive, but he's low on mana. He can't fight back.
Sport Billy also a bit low, tries to jump in once again. Team Liquid still on the retreat. The boss is on the core. Core goes down for the Playing Ducks. They're losing quite a bit of hit points here, down to 88%. Divine Shield now on Genji as he goes in. Blumby is gonna fall. Sport Billy wants another kill, but Hazorb stops him cold. Oh, I would have actually loved for Team Liquid to use the Gust a little bit faster than they did here, to just use it right away. Hazorbs didn't hit everybody there, but overall, it's still a pretty close match here. 18 versus 18 in levels. 5 kills for Team Liquid, 8 for the Playing Ducks. The Ducks core is down to 88% now thanks to the boss, and we have seen the top lane heavily under pressure thanks to the Siege Giants, who, by the way, are still firing happily away at these towers.
They're going to get the towers here, which will give some experience over to Team Liquid, so very helpful in that regard. They need to be careful, though. Remember, that Keep early on the top left, the boss did push in. It moved it down to under a quarter health.
Now it's about vision. At this point, if Team Liquid plays it smart, they can really use Falstad and the Haka to push the top lane and the bot lane constantly in and gain advantages through that. They just need to make sure that they're not getting ganked with the attempt. So it's all about identify where your opponent positions and push with your globals the other lanes. That's something that they're going to try and do to get themselves small edges in these fights. It's definitely close right now. That boss fight was great for Team Liquid. Getting the boss and also another kill against ETC shortly after with a tribute spawning right down there. I mean, talk about RNG. They had so much luck with that position of the tribute, and they used that, ran with it, exploited it, and now we have a keep down on each side.
The Playing Ducks can count on not using luck here, though. In the next minute, there will be a boss in the top right corner they can grab. And if they're able to soak their lanes appropriately here and use ETC, they can move towards 20.
They want to go for ETC. They want to take him down at the bot lane. They're going for him. Stage dive might have to be used. Eternal might try and use it. They need, and there we go. Immediately blocking the stage dive. Great play and the kill. A fantastic gank. Several heroes holding back their abilities to make sure that ETC cannot stage dive away. And when he finally tries to do it, both of them actually immediately use it. Hazop's even going for the Gust, saying like, better safe than sorry. If Nuruk misses the wave of force, we need to kill him. And that's exactly what they did. Great move on there.
And Team Liquid open up the map. Now they can work on the level 20 as well. Playing Ducks won't be able to make a play for the boss being down a member.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is not really about tributes right now. Tributes are, of course, you still want to get them.
They're helpful.
But they're helpful, but both of these teams have 0. Yeah. So you can let 2 slide and it's not a problem, and we will see 20 versus 20 fights. This is really more so about boss control than anything else at this point, because the first boss just reappeared up at the top, so you need to try and make sure that your opponent doesn't grab it, and a boss 20 minutes in with keeps already gone at the bot lane, with the top keep of Team Liquid extremely low, could potentially end the game. So boss control is everything right now.
Boss, the top right has spawned. The boss for Team Liquid on the bottom left will be spawning pretty soon here. 20 hits for Team Liquid first, but Playing Ducks are right behind them. Even Falsa coming back to help with the defense. Luckily for them, that global kicking in constantly.
Falsa was actually more so running away from Genji. He saw Genji going into the watchtower range and saw him here. And immediately once he sees someone there, he says, I have Epic Mount. Like, I'm out of here. Forget it. And this is what we talked about earlier. You want to push the lanes with your 2 globals, but you have to be sure that you're not getting ganked. This is what happened to ETC. He's the one who was trying to do the same thing. But then he got ganked and was interrupted on the flyback, and Hazops didn't want to risk it, so he moves back right away. But talking about moving back, we have the Ducks retreating from a boss attempt, and there's 2 bosses on the map, as I said before. This is all about boss control right now. Dehaka with the global can also get the tribute. Once they get the second tribute, the Ducks are actually going to be in an awkward spot, because then they have to fight for the third one.
Which will be spawning if this one's grabbed. Darkmok doesn't make the play. With Playing Ducks being down on the bottom left, Team Liquid did bring a few members in just to make sure they didn't get the boss, but they also peeled off a few to the top right. In fact, wow, are they actually trying to sneak it here between Arthas and Greymane? They did start it, but Team Liquid is being very wise right now, using their vision, using their globals to their advantage.
Yeah, they have the vision of the 2 heroes. They know what's happening up there. So now Arthas and Greymane are trying to move in, but Hazo and his boys are trying to make a play down at the bot lane. Divine Shield already being used to save Genji for now. That's 2 big cooldowns that are just bursted away, and that is an issue. So right now, 2 heroics are in cooldown. Genji is trying to keep the Dragon Blade alive as ETC goes in, but the gust is happening. Nande in trouble. He drops the army. Legion of Northrend is on the move as we have the 5 versus 5 that could decide this game.
Chris is here. He wants to fight. He hits a big cocktail. Will hit Splendor on the backside. Splendor is low, but Blumby turns around looking at Nande. Drag does connect on top of Arthas, but Sport Billy getting the harassment in with the Shurikens.
Genji lost the Dragon Blade. Blumby in trouble. Here comes the Ancestral. It goes through. Eternal slides in, maybe a bit too deep, but everybody on Team Liquid's side is already low. Catapults on their core. Falls that down as the Ducks are moving in. The double kill. Muradin is dead, and they are going for Darkmok now. This is the triple, and this should be game.
The Playing Ducks are able to win a team fight. Only Li Ming and Rhaegar are left here for defense. The middle lane is pushing in with the catapults. The Playing Ducks deciding what's the best way for them to approach a victory here. And they pull away. They looked at the boss for a second, thought about going middle, but they're just going to go straight to a tribute.
They want to go top boss. They are deciding in favor of top boss instead of the bottom boss. They're saying we can't end through the middle. It's too risky for us right now. If they kill one of us, we might lose the game. What's the safest play? Safest play is we go take boss and then end the game with the boss. And the decision to go for the top boss is made because the top keep is so low for Team Liquid already that it's the better move for them. So they waste a little bit of time and just say, we can take the top boss and then play with this. Alternative is they can take a double boss play. Get the top boss, move bottom, take the second. Top boss is most likely going to get keep and then go through the bot lane. But they're trying to end with this now.
Is there any worry, though? Falsa's up in 3 seconds. Mighty Gust will be back here. He's going to have the Muradin back as well. And you have Li Ming on core for defense.
I mean, it depends really if you're going to get your initial kills. If with core you can take down one member of the Ducks, then you start getting the resets for Liming, and then you can make your plays. But the boss is strong. We are talking 21-minute boss right now, so the scaling really worked already heavily in favor of the playing Ducks. They need to end this here, and that's why Team Liquid pushes forward so fast to make sure that they can burst the boss down. And that was a good gust that hit everybody, and that's a lot of free damage on the boss. And here comes ETC with a stage dive. Hazobs is saved for now. Genji with the Dragon Blade. Once again, Divine Shield has been popped. Nurok and Splendor are already in a bit of trouble. The boss is starting to move in as well, as we're seeing Muradin just in the middle of things. Once again, blocking the healing static one after another. The boss is going for the core right away. Shields already down. Team Liquid is fighting. Hazobs flying in, delivering a little bit more damage with the Everything Storm powers. And at this time, the boss is dead as 50% remain on the core for Team Liquid.
Nanda getting lower too. He'll be the next target for Team Liquid. Can they get him? A third on the right side. Sport Billy as well, helping out the damage. Hasselhoff is working the auto attacks. A Deathmosh hitting 4 members of Team Liquid. And the Playing Ducks continue to march forward. Chris is on the core, dropping it down, and they're going to get the victory over Team Liquid.
Playing Ducks take the win, and Team Liquid at the end of the game, let's be honest, they screwed that defense up.
Yeah.
They focused the wrong target here. They did not double check the ult on ETC, the 20, and that hit everyone. And ETC, in no scenario should ETC have been the first target. They need resets. They need resets for Liming at this point. And they actually had, first of all, their primary target should have been Greymane. Number one, Greymane has to be the primary target here.
Highest DPS on the core.
Exactly. He has the highest DPS on the core. Make him the target. But even if you don't focus Greymane, when they finally started to make the call for ETC, Arthas was nearly dead. He was one of the heroes that took the most damage. So if you drop him at that moment when you can, you get the resets for Liming. And then you can start to snowball it. But your primary target should have been Greymane here. But it looked like a great defense at the start.
Yeah, they were on
Good
their way.
gust. Buying time, going for the boss, and once boss was down, the core had still 50%, but getting trapped by the death metal here, that was a huge problem. And from the Ducks, that was pretty well played. That the fight at the bot lane in particular, where they were able to get 3 kills that led to the boss being taken by them, that was a really solid battle there. So overall, it was an intense late game. I mean, especially when we saw Liquid engage into the fight and Greymane and Arthas all of a sudden realizing we can't fool them. They're engaging. We need to get down fast, and they made it work.
They did make it work. Etherno coming in with that Deathmosh helping out the team win. And speaking about ETC, we have talked to our players, and they're dropping the lowdown on why this hero is so strong right now in the meta. Let's hear from them.
On earth and fire, heed my call.
I think the ETC Resurgent has something to do with him being able to be used as a side laner as well as a main tank, so you can kind of surprise your enemy in the draft as well.
When it comes to double support, when you have a double support, he peels really well and makes sure that the only target they can really focus is him. Obviously he has the Mosh Pit, which can win a game on its own.
I think ETC's a really great hero because I don't feel like he's necessarily the strongest tank out there, but what makes him so great is that he counters every other single warrior. So if Garrosh is being strong or if Diablo's being picked a lot, then ETC counters them both. And he's also like the best tier in the game to peel for his backline. If you're playing strong backline comps, then he's also like the absolute best tier in the game.
So he's a very strong all-round tank. However, the weakness he can fall into is he can get blown up if there's a lot of CC on the enemy team.
It's mashing time, bro!
ETC has quickly become a stand in the last couple weeks here for the HGC, and it's good to see him back. It's always very exciting to watch him peel for his teammates, but also get those powerful power slides, mosh pits, and it's always great to watch a stage dive.
Yeah, and if you guys are ATC fans, there's another video on the internet that you should definitely check out. Make your way over to YouTube and search for ETC and Hawkray, and you are not going to be disappointed. It's probably the best ETC fan video that I've seen. It's a lot of fun, so definitely check that out. Also, there has been a little bit of talk earlier today, and I have to blame this on Tim. The only reason why I'm not wearing a cowboy hat today is because he didn't bring it. I said I would wear it, but he had to bring it.
The movie was too long yesterday. It was a good movie, but you know, I was all tired out, man. Let's go ahead and get ready for game number 2 of this best